everybody. It's so great that you're joining me again today. We're going to look at Unit 5 Follow Your Passion. And today's lesson, we're going to focus on listening 1. Okay, let's look at some of the questions that we have. Here is the focus of the topic. Number 1, a passion is an activity that you love to do. Look at the photo and what is this man's passion? Let's look at it. Okay. Look, his face is very serious and he's talking through a device. He looks like a construction worker, right? Looking at what he's using. He doesn't look so clean either, right? He must love his job. Okay, so passion. In this case, what is this man's passion? What do you think? Number 2, more and more people are following their passions. And when they choose careers, what are the advantages of choosing a career that you love? And what could be some of the disadvantages of doing so? Number 3, in order to follow your passion, you first need to know what your passion is. What can you do to find your passion? Wouldn't it be great if you can have a job later on that is really what you love to do, that you enjoy doing every single day? Then it's like working becomes fun all the time. I think all of us would want to do that, right? Okay, we're going to look at listening 1, changing career paths. What is the career you would like to have? Ever thought of that? And then thinking about what major are you going to study? Where are you going to study? What university? And then what career path are you going to follow? We're going to start off with the vocabulary. Now, we're going to read and listen at the same time to some myths and facts about college and careers. I want you to notice the bold-faced words and the footnote. Now, footnote is the explanation of words or sometimes citations, right? They come at the bottom. Here we have myth, an idea that is not true. Okay, I can't scroll when the audio is on, so please read along using your textbook. Here we go.
College and career myths and facts. Myth number 1.
I want to change my major from math to biology, but I think it's too late.
Fact.
Don't worry. About 70% of college students change their major. If your major isn't right for you, it's fine to enroll in another department next year.
Myth number 2.
I should only take classes that prepare me for my future career.
Fact.
Not true. Employers often look for people with a range of experiences. Don't get tunnel vision. Take a class outside of your major. Who knows, you might find a new talent.
Myth number 3.
Choosing a major in college means deciding my career for the rest of my life.
Fact.
Not so. Many college graduates get jobs that are not directly related to their major, and most will have 1 or more career shifts during their working lives.
Myth number 4.
If I don't like college, I can drop out, start my own business, and become a billionaire.
Fact.
This worked for Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, but most American billionaires are college graduates. So if you want to be a billionaire, the best strategy is to graduate from college first.
Myth number 5.
I shouldn't tell my professor that I'm having trouble in class.
Fact.
Actually, most instructors want to be supportive of students who are having difficulties in class. Make an appointment with your instructor and ask for help.
Myth number 6.
College is much harder than high school.
Fact.
Not necessarily. College is different, but not always harder. College students have more freedom, so time management is important. Plan your time to make sure you get your work done.
For parents. Myth number 7.
My child isn't getting good grades. If I offer him money or some other bribe, that might encourage him to work harder.
Fact.
Bad idea. Giving rewards is not the best way to encourage good grades. Talk to your child about the problem, but a student is ultimately responsible for his or her own success.
Exactly. Okay. So that's the audio, and we can see here we have the bold-faced words major and role. We've got shifts, dropout, strategy. We've got management, as in time management, bribe, and ultimately. Yeah. Okay, that brings us to the vocabulary practice. You're gonna mash the words with the definitions. So, for instance, if we're looking at number one, major, major would have the definition of B, which is the main subject that a student studies at college or university. So just write the letter B here on the blank. You can pause your video to do so. Go ahead. Great. That brings us to the preview of our listening section. In these interviews, two professionals talk about the role their parents played in each one's choice of career. Now let's look at the pictures. Here we see someone cutting up vegetables and fruits, basically. And here we see someone speaking, as in public speaking. Here we see Jolie Ayeshan is a cookbook author and founder of a company that makes breakfast cereals. She has developed her career by blogging about food, participating in cooking contests, and starting food companies. Simon Sinek is an author and public speaker who teaches leaders and organizations how to inspire people. He's the author of Start With Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Everyone to Take Action. These are very different career paths that we can see here in the picture, right? Right. Okay. So basically in these interviews, two professionals, they talk about the role that their parents played. You know, like how important were their parents back in the day when they were younger to finally get to the career path that they got later in life. What was the role of the parents? Okay, I want you to listen to excerpts from the interview, and I want you to make the predictions by answering questions 1 and 2. Do you think Julie's father was supportive of her career change? Why or why not? And do you think Simon's parents were supportive of his career change? Why or why not? Pay attention, listen, take notes, okay? There we go.
My dad is the first person that ever told me to follow your passion and make money off of it. And I've always, I know that's a huge phrase right now. You hear that all the time, but I heard that from my dad a long time ago.
And I never fought so much with my parents than during this time. And I remember my parents tried everything, They played good cop, bad cop. They tried bribing me. They tried saying, we're your parents and you're going to do this.
Okay, so this is just a tiny bit of the excerpt of the interview. And from this, actually, you can already answer these questions, which is a preview to what we're actually going to listen to. Okay, take a moment to answer that. Go ahead. Awesome. That brings us to main ideas. Okay, now, preview is always important because it, as you already know, it creates the focus for the whole thing we're going to do, the listening. It kind of helps us to really think about the topic and kind of predict where it's going to lead us, what we will be hearing, and that sets the focus for what we're going to do. Main ideas are the broader ideas, whereas the details are the more specific ideas, right? Okay, so listen to all of both interviews. Look again at your predictions from the previous section. How does your predictions help you understand the interviews? Your prediction kind of would have helped. Now, while you're listening to the audio, I want you to circle the correct name to complete each statement. So we have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay? So listen and answer. Now, before you do this, it's important that you annotate every sentence on the keywords. Number 1, studied hotel, restaurant management. Number 2, law school. Number 3, unhappy. First job. Number 4, father advice, changing jobs. 5, finishing school. 6, followed parents or her or his parents' advice. Okay? Cool. Annotate, listen, and straight away answer while you're listening. Here we go.
Eric Michelson talked with two professionals to find out how their parents influenced their career choices. Julie Hession is a cookbook writer and the founder of a company that makes breakfast cereal.
What role has your family played in shaping your career aspirations?
I have a very supportive family. My dad is the first person that ever told me to follow your passion and make money off of it. And I've always, I know that's a huge phrase right now. You hear that all the time, but I heard that from my dad a long time ago.
After majoring in hotel and restaurant management in college, what made you decide to shift away from that in your career?
Well, the fact that about 3 months into my first job out of college, I decided that I hated hotel and restaurant management. That was my first clue. And it was interesting because, when you're an undergrad and you're taking 4 years in this curriculum, and all you're learning about is, hotel restaurant management, hotel restaurant law, hotel restaurant marketing. So I kind of had tunnel vision. I was thinking, well, this is what I've chosen to do. I'm tied to it. This is going to be my life. And I got my first job with Wyndham Hotels. They don't tell you where they're going to put you when they hire you. So anyway, I got the job with Wyndham. They put me in Annapolis, Maryland, which I had, great city, but I had no friends there. You didn't really make a lot of friends working in this small hotel in the city, and I was so unhappy. I wasn't happy at work. I wasn't happy with what I was doing. And this is an instance where my dad came down to Annapolis. He drove down to Annapolis, took me to lunch, and he said, this isn't right for you, but I think you need to figure out what you want to do and make change and figure out how you're going to get there. So that was like such an aha moment for me that I could do something else. That my major, I didn't have to do my major, and that was huge because then I started just kind of looking around and kind of opening my mind a little bit.
Simon Sinek is an author and public speaker who studied in England and now teaches leaders and organizations how to inspire people.
Where has your family been most supportive in your career development?
When I graduated college, I went to law school. And after not quite a year of law school, I realized that I didn't want to be a lawyer. And so I decided that I was going to drop out of law school. And I never fought so much with my parents than during this time. And I remember my parents tried everything, They played good cop, bad cop. They tried bribing me. They tried saying, we're your parents and you're going to do this. They tried being my friend, like, look, just get your law degree, then you can do anything you want. Every strategy that exists, they tried, right? And at the time I wanted to go into marketing, right? I wanted to go into join the ad world, right? And my dad was in England on a business trip about the time that I had to re-enroll. And he sits down with me and says, so? I remember it. We were sitting in our friend's house, and he says to me, so? And I said, I didn't re-enroll. And the first words out of his mouth were, right, let's get you into advertising then. My parents were 100% against me until the decision was made, and then after that point, they were 100% supportive and never, ever, ever raised it ever again. They literally never mentioned it again. And so I have to say, I've been very lucky in my life, which is my parents will give advice, my parents will give strong advice, my parents will try and push and move, where they would like their children to go. But ultimately, once the kids have made the decision, they're 100% supportive. And so I've been very lucky.
Okay. I give you a moment to check your answers. Great, that brings us to the details now. Reading this statement, I want you to write true or false for each statement for number 1 until number 8. If you need to listen to it again, you can replay it, okay? You can pause your video to answer. Go ahead. That brings us to making inferences. We're talking about inferring meaning from context. You guys already know that inferring or inference means making an educated guess, looking for the implied meaning, and we do that by looking at all the facts and components and then combining that, and from there we come to a conclusion, which is the implied meaning, which is never literally stated. A speaker may express an idea indirectly. The listener can infer the meaning based on the context.
My dad is the first person that ever told me to follow your passion and make make money off of it. And I've always, I know that's a huge phrase right now. You hear that all the time, but I heard that from my dad a long time ago.
Okay, so what does Julie mean when she says, I know that's a huge phrase right now, but I heard that from my dad a long time ago? Here Julie is saying that her dad believed in following your passion before the idea came popular. Now it's a popular thing. Follow your passion, get a job which is your passion. But maybe back in the day that was not the case. Yeah? So basically she's saying that her dad is wise and that she respects his advice, Yeah, so we're going to listen to 4 excerpts and we're going to try to infer the meaning, the underlying meaning that we are hearing. Okay, let's look at the first one. Read each question, then complete the statement. Circle the correct answer. Okay, we start with excerpt 1, but before you do that, please annotate. Always annotate on the keywords. You want to know the keywords before you start. So go ahead, annotate first. Excerpt 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's start.
So I kind of had tunnel vision. I was thinking, well, this is what I've chosen to do. I'm tied to it. This is going to be my life.
What can we infer from this? Answer A, B, or C.
And he said, this isn't right for you, but I think you need to figure out what you want to do and make change and figure out how you're going to get there. So that was like such an aha moment for me that I could do something else. That, my major, I didn't have to do my major.
That was the moment that A, B, or C. Excerpt 3.
When I graduated college, I went to law school. And after not quite a year of law school, I realized that I didn't want to be a lawyer. And so I decided that I was going to drop out of law school. And I never fought so much with my parents than during this time.
Please answer the question. Excerpt 4.
My dad was in England on a business trip about the time that I had to re-enroll, and he sits down with me and says, so, I remember it. I remember sitting in our friend's house, and he says to me, so?
Okay, my dad asked me A, B, or C. What can you infer from what you just heard? Take some time to answer. Okay, great. That brings us to the last part of today's lesson, which is expressing opinions. You guys already know that that is super important. Being able to reason and give an opinion which is respectful and leaves room for someone else to be opinionated. In that opinion, still you are expressing what you think, but with a very clear structure. Okay, we're using in writing we mostly call it peel, point, explanation, evidence, and linking back. Or in speaking we could call it RL, assertion, reasoning, evidence, and linking back. Same thing. I want to hear that from you when you express your opinion, because that shows the structure. Do you think that Julie's and Simon's parents gave good advice? Why or why not? And do you think Julie and Simon each made the right decision? Why or why not? Please think about it. You can take some notes, maybe just here on the empty space. So in our next meeting, in our Zoom meeting, we're going to talk about it, and you will be ready to give your opinion in a formalized way. Remember, point, explanation, evidence, and linking back. Okay? Awesome. That is so good. Okay, we're gonna review what we have done today. Yeah, we already got to the end of our lesson today. First thing we did was go over our vocabulary. Yeah, we went over our vocabulary, and by doing so, we matched the words with the definition. We did previewing, listening for main ideas, listening for details, and we learned about inferring meaning from context by listening to an audio and knowing what actually indirectly is being said. And last, we express our opinion using a structurized way: peel, point, explanation, evidence, and linking back, or sometimes also called in speaking RL, assertion, reasoning, evidence, and linking back. Very good. Thank you for joining me today. You are awesome, and I'll see you back in class. God bless you. Bye.